Ja Rule, hip-hop artist of Murder Inc., known for rap songs such as Live It Up, The Rain, and Put It On Me. Ja Rule is headed for an historic meeting that will hopefully end the beef with him and Interscope hip-hop artist 50 Cent, a beef between the two that's been brewing for over a year. This first meeting of Ja Rule will take place at the home of Minister Louis Farrakhan, leader of the Nation of Islam. Minister Farrakhan, best known as the author of the Million Man March. Will this meeting of a 27-year-old rapper and a 70-year-old charismatic religious leader end this beef? Let's witness this historic meeting as Ja Rule seeks out the counsel of a man he believes to be the peacemaker.
We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down.
Yes, sir.
We must get up.
Yes, sir.
And go to work.
This is one of the strongest national preachers that I have in the bounds of North America. Everywhere you hear him, listen to him. Everywhere you see him, look at him. Everywhere he advised you to go, go. Everywhere he advised you to stay from, stay from. So we are thankful to Allah for this great helper of mine, Minister Farrakhan. And I say continue to hear our Minister Farrakhan. I
We believe that we who are the children of slaves, who have given 400 years of our sweat and blood and have never gotten nothing in return for our labor and our lives, we believe that we should be separated in a state or territory of our own, and it must be fertile and minerally rich with an outlet to the sea. 8 or 10 states. We want everything that we deserve and nothing less, and that is something we need to live on and die on, because if we do not do what is required of us, then our children will not have any future.
America stands atop a pinnacle that no nation in modern history has occupied. Allah says in the Quran, I give you power and rule by turns to see how you act in such an historic position that no nation in the past has ever achieved. How will you act? I am from America, the greatest nation on this earth, but I believe with all my heart that the American people are a people that will do what is right if they know the truth. The question is, who will tell them the truth and who will block the truth from getting to the American people that they may demand a change from their government?
Everybody else got to get rid of their weapons of mass destruction. But America got stockpiles of it. Why can't another nation have it? Because America wants to dominate the world and frighten the world and threaten the world that the world will bow down to America and not to God. But there's a people in America that will never bow down to this enemy. When you see a black man stand up in the most powerful government on earth and speak as I speak and walk as I walk and live as I live and don't care nothing about that enemy, then you ought to know God is not to come. God is already present. He's here. He's in the world.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. You may be seated. Again, we want to welcome you on behalf of the Local Action Committee for Reparations to Indaba 3. I have a question for you, brothers and sisters. What do you want? Reparations. What do you want? Reparations. When do you want it? Now. When do you want it? Now. How are you going to get it? That's what I'm talking about. I'm Brother Kofi Tahaka. I have the privilege and the honor of being the chairman of the National Black United Front Houston chapter and coordinator of the Local Action Committee for Reparations. We have many brothers and sisters who have come together collectively to work and try to serve you as you visit our city, as you're coming from different parts of town. So we welcome you. Brothers and sisters, I'll be back to tell you a little bit about the logistics, but I'm going to turn it over now to the national chairman of the National Black United Front, my brother, my elder, my leader, Baba Dr. Conrad Worrell.
Assalamu alaikum. Abaragani. Free the land. Black power. Praise the Lord. And I love all y'all. Well, this is the third Indaba. Indaba is a sit-down. And this came from our brothers and sisters struggling in South Africa that we were reminded of in Ron Walter's paper when we convened our meeting at the salon that was hosted by Minister Farrakhan in July. But, you know, I've been thinking, you know, this is our third sit-down, and hopefully out of this sit-down we can get up. Because there's a lot of work to do. We just don't want to sit down forever, do we? So I think that in this process of sitting down where we deliberate and reestablish our working relationships to try to build some semblance of operational unity in the reparations movement in this country, I think I've been proud to sort of be a part of facilitating this process, and I want to thank the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for backing us up on pulling us together. So give the minister a big round of applause. My dream is this. I wrote Minister Farrakhan a letter. I said, Minister Farrakhan, if the gay and lesbian movement in America can organize and constitute themselves to put their issue in the public domain, for public discussion, for debate in all the circles of power, in the courts, in the Congress, in the legislature of the United States. You mean to tell me that black people in America, the descendants of slaves, the African people who were captured and introduced into the Western Hemisphere, do not have the organizational capacity, the commitment to collaborate, to place the demand for reparations in the center of the presidential discourse, preparing for the election in November of 2004. That's my dream. And And so I'm throwing this out. I had a conference with the minister, and he seems to think this is a great idea. And now he says it's his dream. But that's fine, because I think his dream can go a lot further than mine. However, in your deliberations today, if the reparations movement, there are many manifestations, there are many objectives, there are many tactics in the reparations movement. But one tactic that's missing is a mass interaction with the masses of our people, that we collectively take our demand to the masses. And how can this be done? Number one, coming out of this Indaba, I am suggesting that we write a letter to all presidential candidates running for the so-called outhouse of the United States, placing our rightful demand for reparations right on their doorstep. That's number one. Number two, coming out of Dallas under the leadership of Thomas Muhammad, we have a letter that can be updated that we can send to every elected official in the United States, asking them where they stand on the question of reparations, and specifically John Conyers' bill, H.R. 40. That's number two. Number three, in 1898, Callie House and the National Ex-Slave and Bounty Society put together a petition to the Congress of the United States with 600,000 signatures. You mean to tell me in 2004 we can't get millions of signatures and come out of this with a reparations petition demand that we take on the streets all across the United States to engage the masses of our people? We can do that. We can do it. If NBUF went to the United Nations in 1997 on a crack cocaine tip backed up by Minister Farrakhan with our little speakers, we have one of the greatest orators, one of the greatest spokespersons for our movement right here to my right. And so whenever a brother of this magnitude, who possesses the gift that he has to articulate and to organize, and who has demonstrated his capacity to rebuild the Nation of Islam. And I might point out, I am honored that he did it in Chicago. And he did it with the help of Reverend Sampson. He did it with the help of Hakeem Matabuti. Right. He did it with the help of Dr. Anderson Thompson. That's right. And he announced the rebuilding of the Nation of Islam at 7524 South Cottage Grove in Chicago, right, where he had one brother standing with him. That's right. I remember that day, Minister. Yes, sir. And from that reconnection, when you were reassigned to Chicago, we have been meeting with you and conspiring with you at every turn. And I just want to say publicly, when I wrote you that letter, I had no idea that you were going to say, go ahead, and convene that meeting at the Salam to get this process together with all of our differences in the reparations movement. My God, this was the one issue that we need to work on repairing ourselves to repair the reparations movement. And so Minister Farrakhan convened that meeting at the Salam in Chicago in July. Most of the key activists and organizers and researchers in the reparations movement attended. It was 28 people spoke. And then Jackson, Mississippi in October. The great meeting we had, the great speech that the minister gave, which was a warm-up to the speech he gave on Savior's Day, which I'm sure is a warm-up for the speech he's going to give tonight All of these are warm-ups. Because you know the minister has floated it out there that in October of 2005, we're going to be back with our reparations demand to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Million Man March, I think. And it ain't going to be just million men this time, according to the minister. It's going to be million black folk. So, October, we're suggesting that we have our fourth Indaba, where we process our petition, where we evaluate the work we've done, the mass action strategy, the infusion of the demand for reparations in the presidential discussion at Morgan State University, hosted by Dr. Ray Winbush. Do y'all agree with that? And we have hooked up with our brothers, Farrakhan.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, we thank Him and we give Him praise for His mercy and His goodness to the human family. The greatest of God's mercies is shown whenever a people stray from the path of favor into a path of degradation, that out of that mercy He always raises someone from among that people and blesses that person with revelation, that He may guide that people back to the path of divine favor.
Yeah, that's right.
I thank Allah, and we thank Allah for Moses and the Torah, for Jesus and the Gospel, for Muhammad and the Quran. Peace be upon these worthy servants of Allah. I am a student of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and as a student of his, I could never thank Allah enough for His coming in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, for his raising up this wonderful human being from Georgia, who became the inspiration that gave us Brother Malcolm, that gave us Muhammad Ali, that gave us Abdul Rahman, that gave us Jeremiah Shabazz, that gave us Abdul Karim Hassan, that gave us Imam Warithuddin Muhammad, that gave us Louis Farrakhan, and hundreds and thousands of others. I could never thank Allah enough for such a man. And what I am today and what I hope to be is because I was fortunate enough to meet him. As a young man, brothers and sisters, I hungered to see us free. As a young man, I cried myself to sleep when I read in the Afro-American or the Pittsburgh Courier about the lynching of our people in the South. I never experienced the hardships of Jim Crow or the hardships of slavery, but God allowed me as a sensitive human being to feel the pain and suffering of our people. When I read the stories of our suffering, it is as though I am suffering myself, because when you are creative in terms of an artist or musician, some of us are born with that
that we can feel the pain of others. And I noticed when I was a very young boy that our first little apartment in Boston, Massachusetts, was across the street from J.B. Johnson's funeral home. And as a little boy, I would look out my window and watch those who were burying their dead crying as they came out of the funeral parlor, and some fainting and whatnot. And I would be in my window crying with them because I could feel their pain, though I did not know the person who had passed. And it is this sensitivity to the hurt of our people that will not let me deviate from the struggle or take a mean price for the message or countenance betrayal among us. So I'm honored to be in your company, because in this room is black power. In this room, black power can become not just a cry, but a reality. And what Brother Conrad, Reverend Conrad, I heard something in my brother today that I know he can do exactly what he said is coming up out of him. He's born to do what he's doing, and so are you. But I am honored to be in your company, because when I'm in your presence, those of you united in struggle for our people, I am truly in the presence of God. Now, I greet all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in Arabic, Assalamu alaikum, in Hebrew, Shalom aleichem, but in English, it really means simply a prayer to the author of peace, that peace will be among us. And we offer to each other peace, which means it's not a greeting that is empty. It's a greeting that means that from my lips and from my hands and from my heart and from my mind, I will not do anything to injure your peace. And that is what needs to be our thought in this moment of repair, repairing wounds that are sometimes self-inflicted and wounds that we inflict on each other through ignorance or other character defects. But nevertheless, if we repair, then we can repair. But we cannot offer to others what we refuse to accept among ourselves. Now, this is my first visit to this magnificent house, the shrine of the Black Madonna. I was asked to come here when I first started to rebuild the work of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a wonderful sister and attorney who was a member here. And I never got to come here. But today, on my first visit, I'm so honored to be in this space because the great Baba Jaramoja, who became a friend of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad from the Christian pulpit that he had in Detroit. Long before it was fashionable to be friendly with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Baba Jaramoja became a friend of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, a friend of the nation, and a friend of Brother Malcolm. That's a fact. And that is how I came to know him. And I've known him not intimately, but I've known him as a warrior for black consciousness, a nationalist preacher of a nationalist Christ figure. He was on it while others were sleeping about it. So to me, my presence here today is honor to me to be in the space and in the place that Baba Jaramoja built, and what he has done, his life, his legacy. See, no grave can hold Jaramoja down. And if we do the work that is before us today, ain't no grave will hold us down, because this can be like the Continental Congress, where men, I think they were just men, but this is men and women. Those fellas that wrote the Constitution, they argued, they disliked one another, but there was a cause that was bigger than their personal feelings, and they rose above their personal feelings to write a document, not for us, for sure, but a document for them and their progeny. We are no less in our being present in this Indaba. I personally am grateful to Brother Conrad for his unselfishness. And he proved when he wrote me a letter asking me if I would help to bring the disparate elements of the movement together. He was saying to me in such a letter, unsaid, you know, you have a gift that I want to use for a cause bigger than me and bigger than you. Now, everyone in this room, what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to me and to us, he said, every time you look at a black man or woman, you're looking at God. Now, Jesus said it, how can you love God whom you have never seen and hate your brother whom you see every day? Well, what is there in your brother that is in God? That we need to be much more respectful of each other in order to show proper respect for God, the unseen reality. See? So I don't need to wait to meet God. I meet him every time I meet you. And when I meet you, you will never find me disrespecting you, because I know who you are. And if I'm disrespectful of you and unmindful of you and show envy of you or jealousy toward you or niggardliness about you or slander you or gossip about you, then I know I'm doing that to God. And I should respect some consequences. See, this is the way I live my life. I'm in love with you. Because you can't say you love God and then don't love one another. So when my brother said, and my sister first said, we need to have a sister up here. See, because the scripture has it in a funny kind of way, you know, but the Quran says it so beautifully that he it is who created you from a single essence and created your mate of the same essence. So it ain't that I'm God and she's not. See, the two of us become whole. See, and in this room, we can't give Willie Lynch a victory. In this room, look at the beauty that is in this room. Look at the variety of approaches, methodology, ideology, religions in this room. Look at the difference in color, the difference in hair, the difference in looks, and the difference in where we think we came from. This is true beauty. And that's why when Dr. Ron Walters wrote that became the basis of Indaba 1, the big sit down, and trying to help us to see the value of operational unity. So we are not here to form some new organization. We have enough of those. But what we want, though, is to find a way that all of us, through our various organizations and entities, can work together for a common cause that is bigger than our individual organizations, ideology, religiosity, or non. Now, I'd like to close, and Lord knows when I close, that means 6 hours from, no. But I wanted to set a spiritual tone to knock away personal hurt and pain, because we struggle for this cause. And in struggling, you know, you bump. You produce a wound here. You step on your brother's toe. You don't like this about your sister. And we get involved in petty things. And then we start gossip and slander of one another, and it hurts the overall objective. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in rearing me, you know, first I want to say I came up under Brother Malcolm, and I've never found a better teacher, a better representative of discipline in my formative years as a Muslim than Brother Malcolm. I want to say something about Brother Malcolm and this process, because brother being the spokesperson for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, brother being in prison when the nation was struggling and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was struggling to get the nation up. He had many helpers, but he was missing something. See, but what he was missing was languishing in a prison cell. See, and some of us would never accept an ex-convict to sit at the table of leadership, especially in our bourgeois organizations. And we always look for people with their letters and, you know, the BS, the BA, the MS, masters of it, MAs, PhDs. Not that we deny the value of that, but to deny the value of a man from prison or from the streets or from being a pimp or a sister from being a prostitute. See, if you look at the Passion of Christ, which Mel tried his best, I think, to get the darkest white person he could find, because had he got one of us, there would have been no passion. They would have said, beat that nigga, shoot that nigga. I'm not getting into that, but the point I'm making was that in that passion at the cross, when the man was undergoing the worst part of his tribulation, his disciples ran away, with the exception of John. There was his mother, and there was Mary, who was not a woman of high reputation. See, and we have witnessed this with Callie House. We witnessed this with Fannie Lou Hamer. We witnessed this with Martin Luther King, with Malcolm, with Elijah Muhammad, with Marcus Garvey. Whenever the enemy starts vamping on one of us in leadership, then you begin to see who the real supporters, the real followers, the real devotees are. And they ran away and left the master. Because it never was the master's trial. It was the trial of those who said they love him. Our trial. Our trial. Do you love the principle of reparations more than you love your ego? No, that's... Do we want the liberation of our people more than our name and our face in the newspaper? Do we want the liberation of our people more than acknowledgement of what we think we have done? There are many in the grave that our brother who poured the libation talked about our ancestors. Their names are not known, but we are here because of them. And others will be here because of us, whether they know our names or not. It's not about your name. It's about the success of a process. What's in it for me is the success of the movement of reparations. I didn't come to take over nothing. No. I came to serve a process that was already in existence by Imari Obadeli and Cobra. And of course, Queen Mother Moore and others who made reparations their lifelong struggle. See? No, we can't even think takeover. We can only think, how can we serve the process? And since God has given me this gift, but he didn't leave you without one. And he didn't leave the least brother or the least sister that is buried in a prison or in a crack house today, or a least sister that's on the corner today. Every one of them have a gift, because the great Creator created us with himself at the root of us. So how could we be gods and not have God and have the power of God and the wisdom of God, since we sprung from him? Then our genetic makeup, he's all encoded in us. But the question is, what process will bring him up and bring him out? That's why we speak of resurrection of the dead. It ain't about going to no cemetery and getting some bones up. It's about resurrecting God that is buried in the flesh of human beings who deny God with their lips and with their actions. But he is the core of our very being. So I want to leave you with this. The genesis of the Bible starts with God making a man from dust. Dust is a particle of matter having no form or function. So even though it is matter, it does not matter, because it has no form and no function. As a people, we have been reduced to dust. So we do not matter. Even though we are matter, we do not matter. This is why when Brother Conrad said, we've got to put reparations in the heart of the debate. It don't matter what they say, but we got to get something on the record. What do you think about this? Because we are tired of giving white folk a vote and asking for nothing. We're tired of our people using our people's vote and selling us out. See? So what Brother Conrad's dream is, that's real. I share that dream. Not that I had it. I didn't have it. He had it. When he spoke it, I said, that's a good dream. Let's play that number. We're going to hit the lotto with that dream. As we go into our workshops, whatever differences we may have as brothers and sisters, let's try today to repair. Because each one of us is important to this process. But we should never think that we have met and the enemy is not among us. Wherever there are two or three of us gathered together in his name, not only is he present,
But Satan is also present too. And the sad thing about this, Brother Conrad, is see, we don't seem to be able to recognize satanic influence even among ourselves. I mean, Jesus had Peter right beside him. He was his chief disciple. But at one time, Peter spoke to Jesus, and Jesus looked at him and said, "Get thee behind me, Satan." Whoa. Satan was coming out of the mouth of his chief disciple. We have to guard what come out of our mouths that speak to ego, that speaks to division, that speaks slander of one another. See, that's Satan coming in the house. See? The sons of God came to present themselves before God, the book of Job, and the devil came also with them. Now, these dudes were hanging out with the devil. The devil was their brother. But when they got in the presence of God, he looked, he said, "Whence cometh thou, Satan?" I can imagine the shock of the brothers. What? I mean, I'm hanging out with this dude? See, and in our movement, Satan always appears to be the best among us, because that's the only way he can deceive the hell out of all of us. So you got to test. You got to have ways of testing and proving yourself at every turn, not only to others, but prove yourself to yourself. Because some of us think we are all right until a circumstance manifests that show that we're not. I'm closing this now. I didn't mean to get carried away. But I started with Brother Malcolm because he was my first mentor and teacher. But as that man came to Elijah Muhammad and began helping the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in ways that no man before him had done, it created the natural envy, jealousy, enmity, and strife within the organization. This is real. You find it with the Panthers. You find it in all organizations. Once you manifest your strength, somebody says, see, we got to knock him down, knock her down. That's in the room. And every one of us that made it here today, you didn't come here on no crystal staircase. You got here catching hell, and you catch hell oftentimes not from the real enemy, but from your brother and sister who are the Jerry Lynch advocates and agents. So Elijah Muhammad saw them biting on Malcolm. But instead of stopping the bite, he encouraged it. Now that don't sound right. That the leader would encourage the envious to work against a great helper. It came out of his family, and it came out from the people around Malcolm. In that blue Oldsmobile that is at Malcolm X College, it was in the front seat of that automobile that I had my last conversation with Brother Malcolm. And as God is my witness, I will never lie to you. He said to me, "Brother Lewis, I wish it was you being an example for me rather than me being an example for you." He knew that I was going to ascend to his position. And he said, "Brother, my enemies will one day be yours. So help me Allah. And he named the persons from Chicago and New York who were his enemies, and he said, one day they're going to be yours. That was the last conversation I had with Brother Malcolm, and his words proved true. I'm coming to something. When I became the national representative of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in fact, he called me and said, I'm sending you to New York to be my minister there. Instead of me saying thank you, I never said a word. I hung up the phone and I ran out of the house. I never said a word to my wife. I got in my car, and as I was driving to a place of refuge where I used to go and study, the tears were running out of my eyes because I never wanted his place. I only wanted to help him maintain his place. But now I was being offered New York City. And then he gave me the name Farrakhan. And then another year passed, he made me his national representative. And before long, the same people that were biting Malcolm started biting me. And every one of you that are in organizations, you experience this. And how you handle it. See, it's not the person that's biting you, it's how you handle the teeth of the biter. Because some of us are like sandpaper, and others of us are like wood that need polishing. And when God wants to polish you, he'll put sandpaper around you. And you think, the brother, this is a terrible Negro. Look at what that Negro's saying. Look at what that Negro, that no good mother. But if you can stand it, if you can take it, they start polishing you. Because in this world, Brother Malik, in this world, Brother Conrad, in this world, Baba, you can't get to the goal until you get past the envy and the jealousy and the evil of your own people. And if you succumb to that, your own people will break you down. And when you break down, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told me, he said, when you break down under the pressure, they'll say, I told you that nigga wasn't nothing. Go ahead. So they started biting on me. They had already named me as a chief hypocrite of Elijah Muhammad. That I was going to be worse than Brother Malcolm in my rise against him. And they spread this all about, even though I was on the radio for 6 years helping all the mosques to grow. They hated me. What have I done? Did I bother anybody? Did I rob anybody? Did I rape your daughter? Did I talk about your mother? No, I didn't do none of that. No. But they hated me because I showed ability. Cain hated Abel because he was able. And wherever you find somebody that's able, you're going to find Cain. Cain will always be there when you rise up showing ability. Cain will say, why are you blessing him? I got something the same as him. Why are you blessing him? See, and every time you think like that, you put a veil over your own gifts. Because envy will never allow your gift to manifest. See, that's why I started by saying when I look at you, I'm looking at God. And when I see the greatness of God manifest in you, I can't be jealous of that, because that would say that I hate God for blessing you with the gift that you have. But all of us are gifted. We can't do this any individual. It's going to take a collective of us to do this work. So finally, I got so angry with these jealous people inside the nation that I went to the table of Elijah Muhammad, and I was ready to fight now, but I was going to fight in his presence. I called these Negroes out, you know. Go ahead. And when I mentioned envy, he hit the table. He said, brother, seek refuge in Allah from the envier when he envies. And he got up and he walked out. And he let me stew in that one. All the people around the table were those that were eating me alive. And I wanted to get them, you know. But he stopped it. Then he came back in the room and listened to what he said to me. He said, brother, when you have a piece of wood that you're going to place in the corner of the building to uphold the weight of the building, you have to put a lot of stress on that board. And if it breaks under the stress, then you know that that's not the board you were looking for. You throw that one away and get you another one. I didn't quite understand the allegory. But the point is this. See, Malcolm was the heir apparent of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. See, but he had to be able to take, listen to me good, take the evil of his own brothers and not respond. Because if you respond and kill your brother, you can't raise your brother. If you respond and throw your brother away because you see in him that which you have to deliver him from, you can never reach what God wants you to reach. So when Malcolm rose against his master, he showed that he did not have within him the ability to withstand envy, jealousy, hatred. And that's why he said to me, I wish it was you being an example for me rather than me being an example for you. I have withstood your talk. Say that. Because hell, I ain't come up on no damn crystal staircase. Still withstanding. But I never respond the way others talk about me. See? I don't do that. Because you are my flesh and you are my blood. And if I can't take it, then I can't be an instrument of redemption. That's why when you talk Jesus Christ, it's so easy to talk him. It's so difficult to live him. See, if you can turn the other cheek when your brother or sister act a fool, if you can love them more than they hate themselves, you will outlast the wickedness of your brother to accomplish a goal bigger than your brother. So Malcolm died that I might live. And that's why I can never disrespect his name or dishonor him, because he was an example for me. So when Warithuddin did what he did, you never heard me in the public speaking against the brother, though he spoke against me. When Jesse Jackson, and when I came into politics, I don't know nothing about no damn politics. I speak what is in my heart. I ain't no damn politician. But when I came by Jesse's side to help a man that I felt was doing something bigger.
Go ahead, man.
And what was big about what Jesse was doing? He was freeing black minds. That we not only can be good dancers, good singers, good basketball players, good fighters, but we can compete in the arena of ideas, and we can debate these crackers and beat them so that our children would see something like that and say, damn. Then the next generation ain't gonna be saying, run, Jesse, run. They'll run the crackers off the speaker stand because somebody paid a price. Am I making sense? I'm not, listen. Beloved brothers, sisters, you know, I couldn't go out in the public after they lied and said that I had called the Jews this, that, and the other. I was defending myself. The Jews had called me a black Hitler. But when they reported it to Reverend Jackson, it was endangering his campaign. So he put in the New York Times what Minister Farrakhan said was reprehensible and morally indefensible, and I don't want anybody in my campaign to be with Farrakhan. I'm disassociating myself from Farrakhan. See? Now, what did Farrakhan do? I heard this on CNN. And 40 members of the media were in the next room waiting for me to blast Reverend Jackson. I never said a word. Do you know why? He hurt me. But hurting me is not more important than helping our people. Why should I use my influence to divide the community that wanted what Jesse was seeking? So I kept my mouth, and everybody around me would say, we ain't saying nothing. Yes, it was hard. It's always been hard because I got a group of warriors around me. See? But we're not here to hurt our people. That's the most hateful thing to me, that we would hurt one another, kill one another, destroy one another simply because we have some ideological disagreement. Marcus Garvey disagreed with W.E.B. Du Bois, and E.B. Du Bois differed with Marcus Garvey and Booker T. But hell, man. Hey, we didn't kill W.E.B. Du Bois. He died in Africa. Marcus Garvey died in England. Look at that. He came a long way, Mr. Du Bois. And we honor him today. But had we killed him because he disagreed with our patron, we would never have had the scholarship. And that's why we have no right to kill one another, because we're in disagreement. Because today's enemy may be tomorrow's best friend, and today's friend may turn out to be tomorrow's enemy. You don't know who you are until you've been tried. So I'm going to sit down. But as we go into these workshops, you know, be patient with one another. Listen to each other like you're listening to God. And if you disagree, disagree respectfully. Don't beat each other down, because the Indaba, we must come out of this one today I'm already going to give brother my commitment. I don't think 1 million signatures is enough. I think if we are united, we can get 10 million of our people to sign. And that means we got to be talking this up in the churches, talking it up in the schools, talking it up in the barbershop, talking it up in the beauty salon, talking it up everywhere, and getting a signature. That means every one of us, when we leave, we become teachers. And we got to go and spread the reason why reparations is right and exact and is the most unifying principle that all of us can come together on, because all of us are the victims of one common enemy who is the same common enemy today. So I thank you, brother, for the time that you have given me. And I hope that my words in no way were offensive. You know, but my brother Malcolm paid a price to bring us to where we are, to help to bring us to where we are. And he was hurt inside the nation. And he literally felt that his teacher was behind the envy that his brothers, in their wickedness, needled him with, bit him with. His teacher did know it. His teacher encouraged it to prove Malcolm and to prove me. It's like a master teacher in the dojo. He got to bring you to the threshold of pain. And then do this. When you hit your leg, meaning let up off that hurts, that hurts. He don't let up right away. He brings you beyond that. Because to deal with our people, you're going to suffer pain. And if you're going to turn on your people because they give you pain, you are unworthy to lead them. So we are in a position of leadership. So you can't give your people what they give you in return. You got to be able to reach beyond their wickedness, their slander, their gossip, their envy, their jealousy, to raise them. Then the repair is taking place. May God, Allah, may our ancestors bless our being together today. May He bless those in front, which does not mean we are in front. It just means that He called it. Kofi and Brother Minister Robert, they were the ones working to bring this about. That's why they were seated here. And Brother Baba Hannibal Afrique, as the host of the last Indaba, is invited and honored by us to sit in front because he hosted Indaba 2. Brother Kofi and Minister Robert hosted Indaba 3. And we look forward to our great scholar, Dr. Winbush, hosting Indaba 4. And whoever on the West Coast, he said the troops are on the ground, will host Indaba 5. We'll never go where we want to go being disrespectful of our females. And this was not meant to be disrespectful of you, because we're only here because of you. You produced us. You are our teacher, our first teacher, our first nurse. And we would be foolish if we poisoned the earth that produced us. That's how foolish the white man is today. He poisons the earth that produced him and life. We can't be guilty of that and be successful in the object of repair. Thank you for this time. I didn't mean to spend this long, I thank you, Brother Conrad, for allowing me this privilege. I thank each of you for the honor that you showed me in listening. I pray that the lessons that we are learning from our own travels and trials and tribulation will make us men and women of better character. Because while our people need oration, oration won't make it. We have to better ourselves in terms of character. We must not lie. We must not steal. Because it's going to take money to do that. May God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you.